Alright, this is going to be the cover of Black for the Born of the Gods spoiler. We're basically going to do a review. We're going to give it a rating between 1 and 10. And we're basically going to give you a breakdown of what we think about the card. Alright, we're going to start off with Destiny.
Archetype of Finality is the first card we're starting off with. She is a 2/3 for 2 black for other. Creatures you control have Death Touch. Creatures your opponents control lose Death Touch and cannot have or cannot gain Death Touch. For me, Archetype of Finality got 6. She's kind of neat. She gives Death Touch to all your creatures, but I don't really like her mana cost of 6.
Me neither.
For a 2/3 for 6, it'd be kind of neat if it was Lifelink instead of Death Touch. Then I can see it being a possibility.
I think that would be bad.
It's color heavy. Yes, it's great that it's not just color heavy, it's mana cost heavy in total. It's great that it gives your creatures Death Touch, so it's always going to be favorable for blocking for you. But, I mean, let's be honest. How many of your opponent's creatures will honestly have Death Touch?
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you guys right now and tell you this. These are the reasons why Limited has so many hard choices to make. Because you look at this and you go, wow, Death Touch. Holy shit. But what about all my opponents losing it? It's not really important. You're forgetting. All your creatures just got Death Touch. Now, Black is obviously going to need to be splashed. So, you know, the other archetypes work so well with this one. I mean, even just the flying one.
Death Strike and First Touch, the Archetype of Courage.
First Strike and Death Touch with Archetype of Courage makes it so your creatures are great. The Trample makes it so that basically you only have to assign one damage and then the rest of it tramples over, because then it's lethal damage. And then, of course, obviously, Hexproof. Hexproof works with all of them on top of it. So, you know, any of the colors you splash with are great. She gives you a great Devotion color. Yeah, she's a 2/3 for 6. And she's an enchantment, so that means she loses out to that too. But you know what? To be honest with you, I don't even care that she ruins my opponent's Death Touch. I think that the fact that she gives all of your creatures Death Touch is so powerful. That means your little 1/1 is now killing, you know, a 6/6.
I gave her a 4.
I gave her a 5. She's a solid play for my opinion.
I kind of do like her more than Ilia's Bow because the Death Touch is there. It's not just attacking.
Next up, we have Ashiok's Adept. It's a 1/3 for 1 black and 2 colorless. Heroic. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Ashiok's Adept, each opponent discards a card. I actually like this card a lot. Again, we see the higher toughness more than power. For 3, it's a 3-drop. So I mean, you know, it's not like super
overwhelming,
early.
yeah, but
it's heroic. Is that every time you're casting something on this creature, you're punishing your opponent even more, giving you the card advantage.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the nice thing is about this too, for 3 mana, most of the time they did do a reprint of a sort of Infest. Obviously, it's not Infest exactly. We'll get to that one in a minute. But this guy at least survives it, and you know the fact that he can live through it is very important because it is a sorcery. So it means you play it on your turn, and then hopefully whatever was a problem is now gone.
I gave it a 6. What do you think, Des?
Same here. I gave him a 6.
I gave it a 6 because you're trading cards. You're going to buff him anyway. And now that you cause your opponent to lose a card, that's some card advantage. It's not an amazing card advantage, but it's nice. And the fact that it costs 3 and he works with the Black-Blue God is very important to think about.
So what do we got next?
All right, we got Asphyxiate, which is very interesting. It destroys target untapped creature for 2 black and 1 colorless. It's a sorcery, so that's really the only drawback on it, is that it is a sorcery. But it destroys target untapped creature. So this is really great for destroying creatures the turn after they come into play, because they still can't really do anything. They can't attack, they can't tap, unless they have Spring Leaf Drum. There's really nothing they can do to keep them alive. And the best thing is this gets rid of a lot of the early cards that are really going to matter, because, you know, for 2 black and 1 other, yeah, it's a little heavy on black, but, you know, you're going to end up having some, you know, double black cards you're going to deal with. So, you know, you're probably going to splash more black than you are any other color.
I don't like it that much. You know, I don't like the fact that it's a
sorcery.
sorcery.
I give it a 5.
Yeah, I gave it a 4. I just don't like the fact that it's a sorcery. You know, you see a lot of creature removal that's at instant speed, and that's really
not so much. Not in this set.
Not in this set. No, I mean, like in previous set, you know, for the same mana cost, you have something like.
But we're not doing unless you count just the Theros, which even then there aren't really that many in a common or uncommon setting that kill. You know, and this is a pretty unconditional setting. These have to be untapped. Which, I mean, there's no way to just go, okay, I'm going to tap them real quick. just so you can't do it. I think that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
What do you think, Destiny?
Unless they tap
I actually gave Asphyxiate a 7.
Oh wow, okay.
It's pretty neat. It's untapped creature. Yeah, it's at sorcery speed, but it's also a common. You're gonna run into those quite often, and I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be eager to use them.
Okay. Desi.
So next, So next up, what do we got?
All right, ran into a little hiccup there.
Okay. We're on Bio Blight. It is a instant spell for 2 black. Target creature and all other creatures with the same name as that creature get -3, -3. I gave Bio Blight a 7. It's pretty neat because you can use it on your opponent's turn when they're attacking to give creatures -3 power or to just straight up kill them. It's also a really good removal for tokens because
the tokens all have the same name.
Yeah, this is just straight up token wipe. I don't think anything beyond the token Kiora Crushing Wave produces on her
Nothing.
ult.
Centaurs die.
Yeah, this kills every
Cats
token.
die. Birds die. Everything dies.
At instant speed, as well as for a very low mana cost.
I wonder, the two birds that the blue worshipper produces, are those going to die as well to the ones that are produced by the 3/3?
As far as I believe, that as long as the creature has the same name,
bird token.
Because I mean, think about this. Say you have one creature with one name and another creature with the same name. Even if they're two separate, maybe you buffed one and gave it counters. Just because it's bigger, it's still the same creature.
But we're also talking about different tokens from different sources.
True.
So we'll have to look into that. But that's definitely an interesting point because you remember. The King Oreos produces 1/1 cat tokens, and then the Vanguard produces 1/1 cat tokens. Those are the same.
Yeah.
So I would assume that doesn't matter really the source.
Well, then we're talking about we're talking about the general who has inspired tap 3.
He puts out 2/1/1 soldier tokens.
Then last set Theros had a Crow and Crusader that also pumped out 1/1 soldier tokens.
I think those are white, and then there's red. So that might be different. That might be different too.
Well,
we'd have to look into that.
Again, it's just we're just going off.
Still, a solid removal. For instance, it's a 7 at my scale because for 2 black,
same here.
It pretty much kills everything on the field. It won't kill. Remember, this is limited, so you're not going to run into a lot of cases where you're going to get 2 for 1 on cards. But for tokens, this is definitely a field wiper.
And then other ways, it might bring a larger creature within range of your smaller first strikers.
Exactly.
For like white.
So what'd you give it, Casey?
I gave it a 7. I liked it a lot.
Okay, yeah.
So what we got next?
So we got the Black Oak of Adonis. Now, this is a very interesting card in my opinion. It's a 0/5 for 2 and a black. It's a zombie tree folk. It's a defender with pay 1 black, tap another untapped creature you control. Black Oak of Adonis gets 1/1 until end of turn. Now, I think it's really cool that this is actually one of the ways for you to activate your inspired black and even other colored cards. In fact, the best thing about this is it doesn't care if they just came into play or not. They can still be tapped by this ability.
This is reminiscent of the classic Shade ability for 1 black getting 1/1.
But even better because it does take advantage of that inspired ability and the fact that it can help out, from other creatures on the field. Then the other really nice thing about it is it's a 0/5 for only 3 mana. Now it is a defender, and so in that way, yeah, you're expecting that. But the fact of the matter comes down to is this is going to stop most creatures on the field. Even the next one, which we're about to review, even though it's a mythic, is not going to be able to just walk by this tree. This guy's going to stop him.
And if you have enough creatures, it'll even take out the opposition for you.
You got to pay a lot of mana into it, but I mean, at least you're going to get some inspired stuff out of it.
I gave him a 7.
I gave him a 6.
Black Oak got an 8 from me because
nice.
he is an uncommon. You can have multiple of him on the field.
True.
0/5 defender for 3.
In a limited play, your chances of getting more than one of them pretty slim.
Slow. Yeah, pretty small.
He's a good defender. Next up, we have a card that actually begs to be explained in depth, but we just don't have the time for it because of its impact in the constructed format it'll have. Champion of Stray Souls is a 4/4 for double black and 4 colorless. It has 2 activated abilities. The first one is double black and 3 colorless. Tap it, sacrifice X other creatures, return X target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. His second activated ability is double black and 5 colorless. Put Champion of Stray Souls on top of your library from your graveyard.
Now, what's interesting to mention is for the first ability, you can't target the creatures that you just sacrificed because technically they're not in the graveyard when you go to use
the ability has yet to resolve.
You have to actually make targets, then you pay the cost, and then those creatures die. So by that time, the creatures aren't in the graveyard.
As far as a limited format goes, I'm not liking this card.
A limited format, this guy is kind of hard to pull off. But you know what? If you can get the right cards and in the right order, you know, he's worthwhile. We're talking about limited, though. And you know what? He doesn't really work well with the promo you get because the promo you get wants you to sacrifice creatures to him. And this guy wants you to sacrifice creatures to him. So which one are you going to do? I mean, you could argue that, oh, well, I could put out a bunch of tokens and then sacrifice them to him and then get those creatures I sacrificed back from the demon. But you know what? That's a lot of mana. That's a lot of mana.
It's a lot of turns to dedicate to that ability.
And I would much rather go after them.
And then you've got you know, the mana you use for the ability itself. How did you get those tokens? How are you going to produce the tokens to sacrifice to these creatures just to get the creatures that you might have died earlier? And then what does it really do to your opponent?
Yeah, and in the end, really, the last ability is, in my opinion, one of the biggest drawbacks. Is for 7 mana you dedicate to him. He goes on top of your library.
He doesn't go back to the field or to your hand.
Exactly. We've seen mana cost for much less to go back into the battlefield.
The only realistic way I could see playing that ability is at the end of your opponent's turn because you don't want to use that much mana just to get a card on the top of your library that you know you're going to just draw next turn.
I gave him a 4.
Yeah.
In limited, that is.
Like I said, it begs so much to be discussed, and its ability is revised and constructed, but that's not what we're talking about.
When we do our constructed, then we can really delve into him, because he has some amazing abilities. But let's continue. Desi, what do we got?
Claim of Erebos. For 1 black, 1 other. It is an enchantment aura. Enchanted creature has 1 black, 1 other. Tap. Target player loses 2 life. I actually kind of like this one.
Yeah, it's offensive. It's the first one that we've seen of this cycle that's actually really offensive.
Yeah, we saw the Euphoria's Radiance for 1 white, 1 other gives you 3 life. We saw the blue one that I believe it allows you to
mill your opponent with 3.
Yeah, mill your opponent.
Well, it's mill anybody really.
Yeah.
So I mean,
this seems the most offensive, and in a limited playset allows you
the most.
It
can really get in there.
Yeah, the most work.
And what's important to be mentioned here is actually that black and blue work really well together, and blue and black both have, in my opinion, some of the best inspired cards of the set. So, you know, being able to pay 2 blue and tap and then do some damage is actually really nice in comparison to some of the other ones like gaining life or milling your opponent. This one's actually pretty sweet, I think. I gave it a 5. It's playable, although you still have to have something to put it on that you don't care about really anymore.
I also gave it a 5. Or if you have something that you want to be inspired, while also, you know.
But you still have to just be like, I don't care about this. I would much rather use the oak than this.
Yeah. So, Claim got a 6 from me because you can put it on a small creature that maybe you don't really plan on attacking with, but it gets damage done anyhow.
Yeah. So the next one we got is Drown in Sorrow.
Infest.
This is Infest on roids, basically, in my opinion. It is still sorcery. It's the same cost as Infest.
Double black
it's
and 1 colorless.
Double black, 1 colorless. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn, but now we get to scry 1. Now, it is a sorcery, so that kind of sucks. But chances are, most of your black cards, as we've seen at least, they're going to live. Your Oak is going to live. You know, your Adept is going to live. You know, you got some cards out here that are going to make it, and you get to scry. So you get to go, oh, wow, I would have drawn a land. I don't need that. I need another creature now. And so you get to scry. And in my opinion, this is a solid field wipe. It's a 7.
Yeah, for me, it's a 7 as well. You know, even if you're not using it as an outright field wipe at the beginning of your turn, you can still use it to mop up, you know, blockers that they thought.
You can use it after combat.
I'm going to block. My creatures have higher toughness. They're going to live. I'm in the clear. Oh, wait. Here comes post-combat, Infest.
Done.
Well, dang.
Alright, what do you think, Des?
Drown in Sorrow also got a 7 from me.
Alright, well, here comes our promo card.
Promo for Black Destiny Pack is Eater of Hope. He is a 6/4 with flying for double black and 5 colorless. He has 2 activated abilities. 1 black, sacrifice another creature, regenerate Eater of Hope. And second activated ability is 1 black, 2 colorless, sacrifice 2 other creatures, destroy target creature. So he's already got a built-in, he's already got a built-in destroy for your opponent's creatures at the cost of, whatever other creatures happen to be lying around on your field.
Yeah. I think this
I like the fact that he's got 6 power and flying.
I think that that he's so hard to kill because as of we've seen here so far, there isn't a single card out there that says that creatures can't be regenerated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, other than obviously giving him negatives, making it so that there's literally no way to regenerate, there is no destroy spell that just says destroy it can't be regenerated. Mm-hmm. In fact, even his own ability. So if you play against another player who happens to be able to use his ability, sacrifice 2 creatures and destroy target creature, he can't really destroy Eater of Hope. The best thing in my opinion
even the white
is
faded doesn't do it.
no, it doesn't even get rid of him. And that's the worst thing about that combination there is the faded won't get rid of them. And really, his ability to pick off very specific enemies is very important because there are some tokens in this set. You will have some use for these guys.
Yes, you were talking about him earlier this week. What do you like?
Yeah, I actually do like Eater of Hope. I did give him a 6 though. To me, he would do much better in constructed than he would.
Yeah, for 7 mana, yeah.
But he does. He gets in there. He's a 6/4 with flying.
He's got evasion, yeah.
He's got evasion. He's got enough defense to keep the burn spells away from hurting him.
Eats birds.
Yeah, he does. He eats birds. And then if you just have like any other creature that you're not really seeing any use for anymore.
Yeah, just or they're gonna get killed anyway.
Yeah, or they're gonna get killed anyway.
Destroy them. Oh, instead, I'll sacrifice to destroy your creature. So, it kind of gives their opponent a 2-for-1. Yeah. The only downside is you really can't use him. So if you know he's gonna die, there's nothing you can really do. Yeah. But like I said, unless they really negative him out, there's nothing gonna happen.
So what do we got next?
Eye Gouge.
Eye Gouge is a instant for 1 black. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. However, if it is a Cyclops creature, it gets destroyed instead.
Now that's a very interesting thing because you know what? It's a 1 black -1/-1, and we've seen these before, and they're not very impressive. They get rid of one drops, but most of our 1 drops we've seen, they're not gonna win the game anyway. So this is kind of like But the fact that it kills a Cyclops, which we have some big red Cyclopses in the set, this could actually see a little sideboard splash. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think this is absolutely sideboard worthy. I gave it a 6. It's just because of you're running into someone who might be getting in on you with that 5/2 Cyclops for 4 and red that we'll see a little bit later on. I think that's going to be a powerful card, and this just might be the answer.
What do you think, Desi?
I actually gave it a 5. Instant speed's pretty cool for 1 black. But there aren't very many Cyclopses, and you probably won't run into very many people in the release that will actually either be using them or even get to play them.
Yeah, exactly. They are expensive, and they are, but it is a nice if you know your opponent's playing them, or if you just really want something to remove, little weenies and get them out of the way. Yeah. Having that around and seeing him drop a Cyclops could be very happy. Faded Unraveler. It is a 3/4 for a black and 3 colorless. It's enchantment creature hag, which kind of looks like it. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Faded Unraveler deals 1 damage to that player. This is really interesting because this is the first time we've actually seen Underworld Dreams on a creature that isn't ridiculous.
Kenrick Parasite had the same ability, but
you required to have a black or a red permanent, and it was only 1/1. Yeah, it dropped for 1 red or 1 black. I mean, but it was just still it was so odd. This is actually something that you could. It's a beefy creature for 4 mana. I don't mind paying for that. And the fact that every turn it's going to pop your opponent for 1 regardless, on top of any kind of draw spells they might play. I mean, unfortunately, we don't have any black spells that Sign in Blood that cause your opponents to draw cards. Because this could really get dangerous.
Well, and this is actually a good counter for people who like to use. To rely on Read the Bones to get the cards in
True,
because they paid 2 life for the spell anyway.
Yeah,
now they're hitting 4. Themselves for 4.
Yeah,
a fifth of their starting life total.
I personally think this guy's solid. I don't think he's amazing. He's a 6 for me. What do you think?
Yeah,
I only give him a 5. Just because we're talking about limited here, there's only 1 solid draw spell in the game.
Actually, Black has 1 as well, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Well, we got
for me, Fate Unraveler got a 7. To me, I think I kind of deals 1 damage to that player. There's divination, or is it?
Yeah, divination.
Well, you also have Oracle's Insight. That's another one you can pay for.
So just like its flavor text says, never forget that the life you've built can be undone by a single loose thread. Something your opponent really wants to do. Is he going to take that chance of taking the damage to draw those cards?
That's but you gotta think about it like Mojus. It's 1 damage for no effort put forth.
Yeah.
You did nothing to make that damage happen.
And this creature can eat some weenies. Let's continue on here. We got another really big faded card here.
Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite faded. This is a faded return. Very like the white faded. It's got a hefty mana cost. It's triple black, and then 4 colorless at instant speed, like all the other faded. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, and it is also indestructible. If it's your turn, scry 2. I don't know what you think, dude. I gave this card a 7 just because of the fact that having it at instant speed and being indestructible just opens up a lot of possibilities on what you can do with the creature.
I gave it an 8 actually, because you know what? Black has so many good ways of removal, and on top of that, I mean, you can actually, in a lot of ways, pay your opponent back for maybe you got them to discard a card or you killed one of their creatures. You know, this could take an Archon, this could take a Sphinx, this could take a Kraken, and now it's indestructible.
Well, yeah, I mean, think
they
about
have
that.
to negative it out now.
Say your opponent thinks he's got you with Tromocratus. You've got Eater of Hope. I'm going to sack 2 tokens, destroy it next turn. That Tromocratus is mine, and it's got Hexproof and indestructible.
Yeah. And if you play it on your turn, you get to scry 2, which isn't terrible. I mean, I don't understand the scrying thing, really, to be honest with you. You're paying so much mana into these things.
I believe they added it in because when you have an instant spell, you want to play it as an instant. But this is rewarding you for foregoing that to play it as a sorcery.
I get that. I still think that it doesn't matter. Unlimited, you're playing this on your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
Alright, Desi, what do we got next?
Fellhide Brawler. It's a 2/2 for 1 black, 1 other. He cannot block unless you control another Minotaur. For me, Fellhide Brawler actually only got a 4.
Yeah, you know what? Unless you play...
He's a 2/2 for 2, which is cool.
But he's a Grizzly Bear with a drawback.
Let's just say he's a 2/2 for 2 that can't. In this set, just this set alone, not that many Minotaurs. Let's just say he's a 2/2 for 2 that can't block.
Yeah, unless you pull out another one, in which case, really, even then, he's like I said, he's a Grizzly Bear with a drawback in black, and that's no good.
Yeah, moving on.
Moving on.
Next one, we got Forlorn Sudama. He is she, very female art. Is a 2/1 for 1 black and 3 colorless with Intimidate. She has Inspired. Whenever Forlorn Sudama becomes untapped, you may pay 1 black and 2 other. You get a 2/2 zombie black token, enchantment creature token, like all the other ones that we've seen.
You know what though? I don't think this is like the other ones because none of the other ones really had evasion.
No,
the white one didn't have invasion. The blue one didn't have invasion, which it should have had at least flying. This one has Intimidate, which is very interesting because unless your opponent is playing black or at least splash from black, this card is getting through and you're getting zombies,
giving you a reason to attack, giving you a reason to tap her, right? Yes. But you also got to remember the reason I believe the reason she has that is because so far, out of all the creatures of this type we've seen, she is the highest costing.
No, because the blue one was a 2/4 for 1 blue and 3 other. But the thing is I think why she has Intimidate because she is only 2/1.
Yeah,
so
she is only a 2/1.
At least the 2/4 you could block or do something with it.
But like Eric mentioned, she does have Intimidate, so if your opponent doesn't have at least some kind of black presence on the field, she's getting through.
Yeah, and if they do have black, watch out for that eye gouge.
So what do we got next?
So, you know what? I gave her a 5, by the way.
Yeah.
This one, you know what? This one is almost garbage. It's Forsaken Drifters, 3 and black and 3 other. Zombie, it's a 4/2. When Forsaken Drifter dies, put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. This is going to be killed so many times, and if you play it, you're going to be just like, wow, why did I do that? I just milled myself. You just lost 5 cards, and your opponent now gets a giggle.
I gave him a 2. He's a 4/2. He's got great power. He's
never going to live.
I know. He's got great power, but no evasion. He's got no way to get in.
I would throw 2 tokens in his face and then laugh at my opponent.
Exactly.
I would 5 for 2 to you, dude.
I would use the 2 tokens I got from Bremaz to kill him.
I would use a 2/2 zombie token I just got.
There you go.
But okay, you know what? I give him a 1. Desi, what'd you give him?
I gave him a 3.
I don't know.
Wow.
You need to explain that to me later.
You are generous. All right.
I don't understand.
Next one we got.
What we got, Des?
Guild. is a rare sorcery for 1 black and 3 other. Exile target creature. Put a colorless artifact token named Gold onto the battlefield. It has Sacrifice this artifact. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Now with Guild, it's pretty neat. It has the Exile. I only gave it 5 because the token you get is you have to sacrifice it. It's only
It's
a
not even a
one-use
creature
spell,
token.
No, it's just an
token.
artifact.
That's the most. I was so disappointed when I said it was when I saw it was an artifact, because really, I mean, that just makes it so much less usable. If it gave you a 1/1 like gnome even, it would be great. You know, a golden gnome token. That would be something. Oh, at least I can attack and like mock him with it or something.
Or
But
you know,
it's okay.
So
In reality, I gave it a 5 because it is at least somewhat playable. But here's the thing: it exiles the target. I would much rather for 1 black and 2 other exile it, but it is a sorcery. So I would have rather it have been an instant. Get rid of the gold token thing and make it 4 for an instant. But you know what? In limited, when you don't have a lot of exile and you pull this card, at least it's nice because on turn 5 you can cast your 6-drop because you're not gonna be using that token that turn. That's just not happening.
Yeah, I honestly I gave it a 7. I like it a lot because it's one of the very few cards we've seen, even in the last set and in this set, that just say straight up exile.
Yeah.
For
no
a creature.
exile if it's something.
So it's gone. It's just gone.
All right. So what do we got? This is
Grizzly Transformation. It is an enchant or enchant creature for 1 black and 2 colorless. When Grizzly Transformation enters the battlefield, draw a card. When enchanted creature has Intimidate.
I think it's solid. I think it's a 5.
I like it a lot.
I gave it a 6 actually because like I said, like you mentioned earlier, Eric, if your opponent doesn't have this presence on the field, and what's cool about it is it is black. Okay, so it gives the creature Intimidate.
But it's not. It doesn't mean that creature is black.
But doesn't mean that the creature it's giving Intimidate has to be it has Intimidate to black. It has Intimidate to whatever color the creature you're enchanting going on. So if you're running a color, say your opponent may be running green-blue and you're running green-red, you toss it on a red creature, now they can't block your creature. And
you'd have to be playing either green-black or red-black.
Yeah.
Like you said though, it is an objectiveful ability to colors that don't normally have Intimidate. If you're running black and green and you throw this on your big creature, they might want to chump block it with some soldiers or something, but they can't now. And it replaces itself. That's what I was looking for.
Grizzly Transformation actually got an 8 from me.
Oh wow!
The all-powerful draw a card phrase.
I think that's what it is. She's just like.
I really like it. It's a common. For 3, gives you the draw and gives your creature an Intimidate ability.
All right. Well, we need to move on to the best card I've seen in a while here.
I love
this is Herald of Torment. Yeah, he's gonna torment you. All right, this guy is really good. Double black, 1 colorless, great for devotion already. Yeah. It has Bestow for 2 black and 3 colorless. This is a enchantment creature, obviously demon. It is rare. It's a 3/3 flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life. So if it's an enchantment or it's a creature, either way, you're losing a life. And the enchanted creature gets 3/3 and flying. Really, to be honest with you, I think more oftentimes than not, this is going to come out on turn 3. It's going to start beating your opponent up, and maybe even on turn 4, if you were lucky enough to pull something that gives them a buff. Maybe you're splashing some white or some red, and you can throw some.
The Eidolon of Countless Battles.
I'm seeing a lot. I'm going to see a lot of. You're going to see if you see this guy. It's going to be black white most likely. Just because most people want to offset the lost life. I know 1 life doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're stacking that with all the time, anytime you're getting hit, it does kind of add up. Definitely as a creature. To me, this gets an 8 as a creature, and actually, I would say as a bestow, it would get a 6.
I think it gets an 8 both ways because the bestow is just so good. 3/3 flying, yeah, you lose a life, but 3/3 and flying is mean for 5. I've seen much more for less.
For me and all around, I gave him a 9 actually. For a demon, his drawback isn't that bad, and he's
fairly good for both sides.
He's a 3/3 for 3, and then
or he's a 3/3 with flying enchantment for 5.
Yeah. So it's kind of ridiculous.
What do we got next?
Marsh Mist Titan, a 4/5 for 1 black and 6 other. Now his mana cost is kind of high, but he costs X less to cast, where X is your devotion to black.
And this is actually really nice.
It is. So if you have 3 to your black devotion, he's now he's only costing you 4.
And if you play the demon out, you play first turn some little black creature. Second turn you play out, maybe your
like you have your Nyxborn Eidolon.
You play him out next, and then you play out your demon. That's 4 mana now. He now costs you 2 and a black. Yeah. That's really good for a 4/5. I'm playing that, and I'm probably playing some Intimidate on him too. The Grizzly Transformation.
Yeah.
That would be really nice.
This is a card that you're gonna build your board state at the beginning of the game, building up your devotion, and you're gonna want to draw. His ability is gonna make him able to drop on the field alongside of something else.
Yeah, very early. Turn 4, turn 5, easily.
Yeah.
While he doesn't do anything else, the fact that he is at 4/5 and black, which we've looked at many of the other cards, this guy could even take on the demon if he wanted to, or if you even threw the demon enchantment on him. Now you have a 7/8 with flying, and that's totally possible.
Marshmallow's Titan for me got an 8 because out of the 5 colors and for each color having only 1 actual devotion card, I think this one is actually the best of the devotion cards. Because pulling him in late game, you're not going to be upset at all because he could be a 4/5 for
1 black.
If possible.
He got a 6 for me. I like him.
I gave him a 5 because you know what, late game that would be a little underwhelming. But the fact that he is a 4/5 is really nice, and the fact that he's the biggest out of almost all of the black cards. He can kill the demons. He can kill pretty much anything. He's big enough. But let's keep going on. We got the next card.
Next card is Necrobite. It is this is a returning card. It is an instant spell for 1 black and 2 colors. Target creature gains Death Touch until end of turn and regenerate it. I like it because it really makes what would seem an unfavorable block into a favorable one, and then you don't have to worry about losing your creature.
Yeah. You know what? Not on top of the fact that obviously black doesn't have any heroic at all from what I've seen. I think it has 1. I think they all have 1. But I mean, even then, oh no, yeah, that's right. It has the Adept. Obviously, this would be nice on the Adept. Obviously, but, you know what? I think really, in general, you're gonna look at this as a combat trick. It's a common, so you're pretty much gonna get it. And then on top of all of that, the fact that it regenerates your creature. So even if he isn't blocking, you could just be doing this in response to a destruction spell or a burn spell.
Necrobite, I actually gave a 7. The Death Touch is a neat trick, and it also regenerates at instant speed.
Oh. I gave it a 6. It's your basic combat trick. Move on.
I seriously gave it only a 5 because while it is a nice combat trick, it isn't amazing. I'm not losing sleep over it.
Yeah.
Next we got Nyxborn Eidolon. This one actually is really nice in my opinion. It's 1 black, 1 other, 2, 1, and it obviously for the bestow 1 black and 4 other only gives 2, 1. And you know what? That doesn't sound like much. It's really not. It's only, in my opinion, a 5 card. But the thing is the fact that they are so few bestow already. When your creature is going to die, and there's so many other creatures you can just sacrifice to your demons, this is really going to help. What do you got over there?
I honestly I don't like it.
You know?
I know it's got a good bestow, and there's not that much. Bestow not nearly as much as Theros was. I don't like the 5 costs for giving your creature 2/1. I gave it a 3, dude. I'm not gonna play.
That's fair enough.
I'm not gonna
I understand where that's coming from.
I gave it a 5 because I wouldn't play it for its bestow cost. I would just play it as it's 2/1 for 2.
Yeah. That's still a solid creature too, and you're gonna give your devotion.
So next we got Odinous River Trawler. It is a 2/2 for 1 black and 2 other. When Odinous River Trawler enters the battlefield, return target enchantment creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So already it's got a good come into play effect. We've seen lots of enchantment return. This is just adding that more to black.
But you got to remember though, this is only enchantment creature. So it's got to be an enchantment creature.
Yeah.
It's got to be one of the Nyxborn.
So it's got to be one of your Nyxborn. It's got to be like
Your
maybe you saw your torment demon die and you want him back really bad. Now it's going to go one more step further and insist that you splash white Because for an activation ability, it's got 1 white, sacrifice Odin's River Trawler, return target enchantment creature card from your graveyard to your hand.
So basically, it gets it twice.
So yeah,
when he comes in and when he goes.
So
well, if you sacrifice,
we're seeing again a good synergy between black and white, where this card is almost insisting that you splash it.
Yeah, it gets back your hag, it gets back your demons. If you're playing white, it can even bring back your eternal battle.
Endless battle.
Endless. Yeah.
For me, River Trawler actually ended up getting a 7 because it does say enchantment creature. Now, don't forget that the gods are also enchantment creatures.
Yeah, outside of the battlefield, yeah.
Oh,
I gave it a 5. I think it was a really nice card, but it needs splashing. So.
Yeah.
Painseer, a 2/2 for 1 black, 1 other, inspired. Whenever Painseer becomes untapped, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to that card's converted mana cost. Now, for me, originally, I gave Painseer a 4, but I bumped it up to a 6 as I went along looking through the rest of the cards. He gives you the choice to not tapping him. So you can choose whether to risk losing the life or just leave him be.
Now, for me, with so much scry in this set, and so many ways to manipulate the top of your library and what you're going to draw next turn, or what you want to draw right now, I honestly, I gave him a 10. I gave him a 10. He is a very clear improvement on a very potent card that's been seen a lot recently, which was Dark Confidant. And the Inspired not only gives you more control over when you would like to implement this ability, but with all, like I said, with all the scry, it just adds a level, an additional level of polish to it, so that you can manage what you get. Yeah,
well, I mean, in my opinion, right off the bat, he looks really great for a 2/2 for 2 black, or black and 1 other. He's a really good card. He's definitely going to pay into your demon and stuff like that, and maybe even, help you out with your giant. But in my opinion, I think he's more like a 7. For me, a 10 would have to hit the field and do something like just stop the game. Your opponent just stops what they're doing. They no longer pay attention to their plans. They're really just more worried about killing this person or killing this creature or enchantment or whatever it is. The fact that he isn't an enchantment really helps him out because there's a lot of enchantment removal. But in my opinion, the fact of the matter is unless you find something to really dedicate your time to and use him on, he's not going to do anything. The black enchantment costs 2 and costs 2 to use, so you can't use it the turn it comes out on him. On turn 3, you'd want to play it. So unless you get an attack in, he's kind of hard to do. But once you get control over the game and you want to start using him, he can give you an extra draw card every turn. What do you think, Des?
For Painseer, like I said, I started off with a 4, but bumped him up to a 6 as I looked through the rest of the set.
Next we got a card here that I think is kind of weird. Sanguimancy.
So black actually got
sorcery.
2 devotions.
Yes, they got 2 devotions. We have a sorcery spell here for 1 black and 4 colorless. I honestly, if we're limited to play, I don't like this card.
I love this card.
You draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is your devotion to black. You have no control over how much life you're paying.
You're never going to get more than maybe 5 cards.
True.
That's going to fill your hand back up.
But for 5 colorless, again, it's
5
insistent.
And 4 colorless and
4 colorless and 1 black. Again, it's insisting that you splash white or run some kind of gain life to offset all the life you lose.
If you play this the right way,
I gave it a 2.
I gave this a solid 6 because of the fact that most times you're going to have so much to gain after playing this. I see black as being able to empty its hand out by 5th turn, and you're going to need something to fill your hand back up with.
I gave Sanguimancy a 6 because now that if you think about it, if your opponent, what was I going to say with it? It's pretty neat. Yeah, you lose life equal to how many cards you draw of your devotion, but you're only losing life to how many cards you're drawing.
Yeah, it's not even a permanent, so it's not going to count itself.
With the Painseer, you losing life equal to the converted mana cost. So you could draw with let's say you draw 2 cards, and you could draw 2 really big cards. You're only losing 2 life.
You could draw the Titan, and then that's 7 life.
All right.
Okay, we got the next card here. Servant of Tymaret. Sorry, I suck at these names. Tymaret. Servant of Tymaret. Inspired, when Tymaret becomes untapped, Servant of Tymaret becomes untapped, each opponent loses 1 life. You gain life equal to life lost this way. 2 and a black regenerate. He is a 1/3 for 2 and a black. You know what? I don't really like him too much. He would work well with the enchantment, but that's still 3 life, or 3 life for 2 mana. It's not really equaling out. You could claim that he'd be great for blocking because you could regenerate him and then it's untapped, but you're paying 3 mana to chump block, hopefully have the mana open. You're wasting turns, you're wasting time.
Okay, one thing to remember though is that when you regenerate, it automatically taps him.
Well, you don't, when you use the original ability, when you use his ability to regenerate, he doesn't automatically tap. He actually just gets a regenerate shield. So unless he dies, he doesn't ever tap. So you could just be, I'll block, I'll pay 3 and I'll regenerate him. Oh, well, he's got 3 defense, so chances are you're blocking something with 2. If you're really blocking something with 3, they're going to kill him. They're going to just get rid of him because he's a nuisance.
Yeah,
and it's only 1 life.
I gave him a 4 only because you get the life loss.
I don't like him. I give him a 3. It's 6 mana. You got to endeavor into the sky.
Same here. I give him a 3 as well. For limited, it's not all
that. What do that next does?
Shrike Harpy. So 2/2 for 2 black, 3 other. Flying Tribute 2. When it enters the battlefield, if tribute wasn't paid, target opponent sacrifices a creature. Now, Shrike Harpy got a 5 from me. It's a 2/2 flying, can become a 4/4 flying, but for 5. Your opponent can just have little tokens and, okay, I won't pay the tribute.
Or no
I'll just
creatures
sack
at
this
all.
stupid ass little token right here.
Or no creatures at all.
I only gave her a 5.
I think she's a 5 because most times than not, on turn 5 when you drop her, she's going to be a 4/4 for 5. You know, your opponent's going to have a developed board state by then. You're going to play this.
They're just going to let you have the creature.
They're just going to let you keep a 4/4 for 5, which is great. It's flying on black.
Yeah, it's more often than not.
It's a solid 6 for me because you know 9 times out of 10, that's what you're getting.
I
now,
love this one. I love this one so
this
much.
one, Casey.
Spiteful Returned. This is one of our favorites actually here in the group. It's a 1/1 for 1 black and 1 other. Bestow for 1 black and 3 colorless. Whenever Spiteful Return or Enchanted Creature attacks, defending player loses 1/1. Enchanted creature loses 2 life. Enchanted creature gets 1/1.
Now, if you think about this and you use your demon, you play your demon out, your demon of the demon of tortured,
The Herald of Torment.
the Herald of Torment. Sorry, I suck with these names.
Well,
the Herald of Torment. You play him on turn 3. Turn 4, you play this enchantment on him. Now you have a 4/4. Then when he attacks, your opponent loses 2 life. Now that's 6 on turn 4. This guy's going to set up a clock on your opponent pretty quick. Even if you don't play it on the demon and you play it on a 2/2 or a 3/3, you're still getting your cards worth out of this guy.
And
now,
not to mention the fact that all the creature he has to do and the creature enchanted has to do is attack. So even if they eliminate the creature you attack with, they still took that 2 life.
Yeah, and if you get this guy Intimidate with the enchantment, this guy can still be a formidable force because of the fact that he's going to hit him for 3 on turn 2 with that enchantment and drawing you a card and everything. This guy is really solid. I gave him a 7.
Yeah, see, I also gave him a high score. I gave him an 8. I like this card a lot. The bestow cost is very low. We saw a lot of high 5s and 6, even 6s for bestow costs in this set so far. And for what he does, so he doesn't give a lot to him, but if you're thinking about this, I mean, like I'm saying, I'm seeing black and white being splashed a lot in limited just because of their synergy. Hero of Iros, making that bestow 1 less. You throw it on Hero, you're pretty much getting the same thing with the demon. You know? So you got Hero, so you go Hero, 2nd turn, 3rd turn, you're tossing the demon on him, possibly. Or this here, throw this on him. 4th turn, toss the demon on him. He's already hitting you for over half your life. You know, so but that'd be good for constructed. And
that's but this is this is still a solid limited card.
Yeah, Spiteful Return also got an 8 from me. It's a very, very good bestow card. There's actually, to me, not that many really good bestow cards for his cost.
And not just that, for this set, for Born of the Gods,
there's only one right now I can think of for 4 that's really good, and that is the Eidolon of Countless Battles.
Yeah. Alright, so the next one we got is War Chanter of Mogus. You know what? This guy's alright. He's a 3/3 for 2 black and 3 other. He's good for your devotion. he's going to help you out there a little bit. But his inspired ability isn't exactly mind-numbing. It's whenever he becomes untapped, target creature you control gains Intimidate until end of turn. Now remember, that does mean that the creature you give it to gets Intimidate. So if it's a blue creature, they can only be blocked by blue creatures, so on and so forth. The problem is he's got to untap. He is a 3/3, but he's a 3/3 on turn 5. He doesn't attack till turn 6, which means he's really not getting anywhere. The fact that he's a Minotaur only really helps him because of the fact that there is a Minotaur in the set that reduces the colored cost of the Minotaurs by 1 black and red. While he doesn't cost red, he will come out turn 4 following that Minotaur.
I gave him a 4 because what we've reviewed so far, we're just seeing better 3/3s for lower mana costs.
True.
And not even double colored mana.
I mean, he's good for your devotion, but otherwise
we've got a Crone Phalanx, a 3/3 with Vigilance for 4.
And he's
one
got
of the very first cards we reviewed, and he's got the he's got the all powered, the 1 power to all your creatures for 1 red and 2 other.
So I gave him a 4 as well. He's not really going to see a lot of play.
Same here. He got a 4 from me as well, because Intimidate is kind of cool, but that means you have to use one of your instant spells on your opponent's turn to tap them in order for that Intimidate to actually work. Because if you go and attack with
well,
you may untap on your next turn to give a creature Intimidate, but it's a little hard to pull off because he can easily
so late in the game.
Yeah, so late in the game, you're gonna have
more
things that you're wanting to play with 5 mana instead of this 3/3.
We got Way to the Underworld. What do you guys got?
The last black
That's the
card.
last black card. What do you got?
Weight of the Underworld is a enchantment aura for 1 black and 3 other. Enchanted creature gets -3, -2. That is it. For me, I don't actually really like it.
Yeah, I only gave it a 4.
Yeah.
I actually like it a lot,
Yeah.
because this is going to put some of your bigger opponent creatures into a space where maybe they don't get to attack anymore. You know, this isn't necessarily for those cards that are so big that, you know, there's nothing you can do about them. But this is for, like, your Sphinx, or your Archon, your Demons even. This would take the Demon of, the Eater of Hope and turn it into a 3/2, which really, I mean, at that point, you could burn them off or even just let them sit there.
Not just that, but the Herald of Torment, it can become a 0/1.
Turns into a 0/1 that eats your health every turn.
Yeah, that just eats your health. And that's actually in a lot of ways better. You just let them sit there.
So I gave Weight of the Underworld a 6.
Although I still only gave it a 4 because it's just
I think it's a solid 5
for a -2.
with a set that needs removal or just needs something to get rid of stuff. This is a good card.
That concludes black. We'll be back with the next color, which is red, which is another color we're all really excited to see.